You're positioned in Alexandria during the 2nd century BCE, gazing upon the most magnificent city humanity has ever known. The vast azure Mediterranean lies at your back, endless and serene. Ahead, structures of gleaming white limestone ascend with meticulous symmetry. The sunlight at dawn makes their facades so dazzling that you must avert your eyes. The atmosphere carries scents of brine, seafood, fragrant incense, and an elusive aroma that's hard to pinpoint. The essence of drive, of wisdom, amassed from every reachable land and distilled into this extraordinary hub. The port unfurls before you in a graceful crescent shape, etched into the shoreline. Vessels crowd the waters so thickly that you might cross the expanse by stepping hull to hull. Galleys and triremes hail from Athens and Corinth, merchants from Tyre and Sidon in Phoenician craft. Egyptian barges hauling grain under broad square sails, plus trading ships from distant India, their cargo bays brimming with spices, silk, and ivory. Here, the entire Mediterranean realm converges to barter, educate, debate, and evolve. Gaze eastward over the bay, and there it stands, the Pharos lighthouse on its isolated islet, soaring like a pale digit thrust toward the heavens. Reaching 300 feet in height, it's constructed in tiers that taper upward. By night, a blaze atop it is amplified by polished bronze reflectors, casting a beam that guides vessels from afar. In daylight, a plume of smoke from that same flame signals the safe passage into the harbor. Beyond utility, the Pharos embodies a bold declaration. It proclaims Alexandria's unmatched prowess, that ingenuity in engineering, math, and sheer determination can conquer all barriers. Erected over 2 decades at a cost exceeding a century's worth of gold for most cities, it endures for a millennium. You find yourself along the grand waterfront with the Heptastadion Causeway to your left, linking the islet to the continent. Flanked by storefronts, storage depots, and inns catering to tongues from across the sea, strolling it brings a babble of Greek, Egyptian, Aramaic, and Phoenician. Hagglers mix dialects while negotiating deals. To the east on the promontory sprawls the royal enclave, its palace ensemble, visible from your spot. Ivory marble pillars emerging over terraced gardens sloping to the waves. From those halls, the Ptolemies govern Egypt, Hellenic monarchs over a pharaonic realm. The reigning ruler is Ptolemy VIII, dubbed Physcon, the Portly, though few dare utter it in his presence. His entourage blends Hellenic thought, ancient rites, and unsparing intrigue. Those who lose the king's trust vanish without trace, yet patronage flows to the archives and academies, for the Ptolemies grasp that intellect wields supreme authority. If scholarship draws you here, the library beckons. Housed within the Mausion, a shrine to the muses in the royal zone, it's far grander than mere repository. This is a hub of inquiry, an academy, a nexus for the Mediterranean's sharpest intellects. Residents, subsidized by royal coffers, dedicate themselves solely to probing existence through study, authorship, and discourse. Traverse the Mausion's pillared corridors and debates echo everywhere. Geometers clash over conic profiles. Stargazers ponder if our world orbits or remains fixed. Healers probe cadavers to trace the pulse of lifeblood. Bards intone Homeric lines as analysts dismantle their craft. The ambiance evokes scrolls, flickering lamps, and the fervor of thinkers who prize ideas above sustenance. Its shelves hold hundreds of thousands of rolls. Rumors peg it at 500,000, with numbers swelling unendingly. Incoming vessels forfeit any texts on board. Copyists duplicate them, returning duplicates at times or claiming the originals outright. The Ptolemies pursue erudition with unrelenting zeal. Within its vaults lies the sole full archive of Attic theater. Babylonian proofs of numbers, millennia-old Nile remedies, Hebrew sacred writings rendered in Greek. The luminaries here command fame. Eratosthenes gauged Earth's girth via midday shadows on the solstice, yielding a strikingly precise figure. Callimachus indexed the holdings, devising a method to locate volumes. Apollonius advances conics to chart bends and arcs. Herophilus unveiled the brain as intellect's core, not the pulse. Venture into the bazaars and witness the trade machinery that sustains such enlightenment. Nestled westward near the docks, these emporia swap every imaginable good. Surplus from the Nile Delta feeds Rome and Hellas. Papyrus, Egypt's exclusive yield. Translucent wares from Levantine kilns. Aromas from Arabian and Indic ports. Tyrian purple from sea snails. Vintages, fabrics, bondservants. The slave trade unfolds right out in the open. Individuals of all ages, men, women, children, position themselves on raised platforms as potential purchasers inspect them closely. Many hail from recent battles, captured in conflict. Others face this fate due to crimes, forced to settle debts through sale. A number were simply born into servitude. Those doing the buying approach it with cold calculation and pragmatism. The underlying brutality feels routine, normalized, woven deeply into the fabric of daily life. Most residents of Egyptian descent cluster in the western and southern districts. These are descendants of the very folk who erected the pyramids some 2,000 years prior to Alexandria's establishment. Today, they endure as subjects under Greek monarchs, burdened by steep taxes, their native tongue gradually fading amid the overwhelming sway of Greek ways. In the city, Egyptians largely fill roles as workers, tillers of soil, household aides, the essential base supporting the entire Greek metropolis. The northeastern area houses the Jewish enclave. Alexandria boasts one of the biggest Jewish populations beyond Judea itself. They maintain their synagogues, their judicial systems, their distinct practices, which strike Greeks as odd. Greeks savor pork. Jews abstain. Greeks engage in nude sports competitions. Jews recoil in dismay. Tensions simmer beneath the surface, usually contained yet ever present. Stroll the avenues during midday, and the oppressive heat bears down relentlessly. The pale limestone structures bounce back the sun's rays, bathing the entire urban expanse in a brilliant sheen. Folks hunt for any patch of shadow they can claim. Affluent residents enjoy homes featuring inner gardens and flowing springs. The less fortunate pack into towering tenement blocks. From its inception, the urban layout follows a precise grid pattern. A pair of grand boulevards intersect the metropolis, flanked by colonnades offering sheltered paths. It's logical, methodical, quintessentially Greek, setting Alexandria apart from those haphazard settlements that evolved piecemeal across ages. Sacred sites scatter throughout, venerating deities from diverse heritages. The Syriapum rises on an elevated spot, devoted to Serapis, a deity crafted by the Ptolemies to blend Greek and Egyptian faiths. This fusion of beliefs serves as deliberate state strategy. The Jews opt out entirely, rendering them suspect in the eyes of Greeks. The gymnasium serves as the hub for youthful Greek males honing skills in sports, oratory, and thought. They grapple unclothed, sprint in contests, hurl spears. They rehearse speeches and commit Homeric verses to memory. The aim, to mold complete, capable citizens. Egyptians and Jews steer clear, which further brands them as aliens. An unending din fills Alexandria. Vessels groan against docks in the port. Smiths' hammers ring on forges. Wagon wheels rumble over cobblestones. Sellers hawk wares in the bazaars. Disputes erupt in a babel of tongues. Tavern tunes drift through the air. Kids chase games in alleys, and sanctuary chimes signal the passage of time. Opulence abounds, though it's hoarded among the elite. The royal compound features lush grounds stocked with rare flora from India and Ethiopia. Springs cascade clear water, pavements gleam with intricate tile work. In contrast, humble neighborhoods see households jammed into cramped chambers, meals prepared curbside, sustenance limited to loaves, bulbs, and the occasional cheap catch from the sea. Tommy VI governs alongside his sister spouse, Cleopatra II. Their bond festers with venom, the palace rife with schemes and assassinations. Courtiers ascend and tumble in favor, yet the apparatus of rule persists. Revenues flow in. Cargoes of grain sail off to Rome. The great library receives its support. To the west, Rome emerges as an ascendant force, bulking up annually. Alexandria thrives in riches, but Egypt's armed might wanes steadily. All sense the scales tipping. Down the line, Egypt will fall under Roman dominion as a mere territory, though that's far off, in eras yet unborn. Position yourself along the waterfront as dusk falls, observing vessels glide into berth. The sea shifts to hues of amber and violet. The Pharos looms stark against the firmament, poised until nightfall summons its blaze. Laborers trudge toward their dwellings. Traders tally gains. In the library, thinkers clash in discourse under flickering lamps. The metropolis eases into evening, though true slumber eludes it. Venture out after dark, and you'll require your own lantern or flame. No street lamps illuminate the way, save for stray glows leaking from dwellings. On moonless evenings, paths turn perilous. Wrongdoers prowl the gloom. Guards make rounds, yet coverage remains spotty. Those at the Mushan grasp that they're amid an era of unparalleled splendor. They command a store of wisdom unmatched in the annals of time. Breakthroughs they forge will resonate across ages. Still, they perceive the inherent brittleness. Upheavals in governance could slash resources. Ties with Rome unsettle. Native Egyptians chafe increasingly under foreign overlords. Pundits fret over the library's exposure. Flames pose an ever-looming hazard in a place lit by oil and lined with timber racks stuffed with scrolls. Turmoil in politics might imperil the holdings. The roles prove delicate in themselves. Savants duplicate vital works for safeguards, but the process drags and costs dearly. Beneath the intellectual exchanges lurks unease. The youth, coming of age in this Alexandria, dwell in the planet's premier hub, at the pinnacle of its glory. Unbeknownst to them, this peak era holds no permanence. They can't foresee how in a mere 100 years, strife will ravage Egypt's lands. They remain unaware that the library will eventually be consumed by flames, not in a single blaze, but slowly across the years due to mishaps, conflicts, and abandonment. They have no inkling that Rome will seize control of Egypt, transforming it into a mere province. Yet all that lies in the future, shrouded by the passage of time. For the moment, Alexandria radiates splendor. The Pharos gleams at the harbor's mouth. Vessels arrive from distant lands laden with merchandise, innovations, and travelers. Experts clash in debates over geometry, healing arts, and the essence of existence. Bazaars teem with wares from across 3 continents. The palace district sparkles with opulence. Tensions lurk openly on every side. A Hellenic metropolis, erected upon ancient Egyptian soil. A sanctuary of wisdom sustained by ruthless levies. A melting pot of peoples, fractured by tongues and faiths. Intellectual liberty thriving under absolute rule. Such is Alexandria in its prime. The world's premier repository of knowledge. The Mediterranean's most varied urban hub. A realm where inquiry is chased with fervent zeal. The lighthouse rising as a symbol of mortal ingenuity. Illumination triumphing over shadow, via ingenuity and calculation. Yet history marches forward, relentlessly. The vessels in the port will one day ferry Roman troops. The parchments will ignite, vanish, or decay into oblivion. The Pharos will endure the farthest, defying time for a millennium until quakes finally topple it. The intellectuals will disperse, their legacies preserved merely in duplicates and scraps. The metropolis will persist, albeit altered and lessened, no longer the world's focal point, though its name endures as Alexandria. Long after the era of glory fades, after the library becomes legend, after the Pharos lies in ruins and Rome crumbles too, the title will echo with awe. Alexandria, guardian of ancient texts, haven for philosophers, source of the lighthouse's glow and the spark in minds devoted to wisdom's pure pursuit. You find yourself amid it all today, as dusk descends upon the waterfront, the Pharos poised for evening, the library brimming with volumes, voices rising in scholarly strife, sails unfurling on incoming craft, the streets pulsing with the raw vitality, discord, genius, and inequities of humanity's boldest endeavors. This is Alexandria, perched where sands yield to waves, the bastion of enlightenment and radiance, impeccable yet imperfect, grand yet ephemeral. Poised at its zenith prior to decline, with the blaze still flickering vividly.